It's God's Prophecy and his girlfriend coming back at you with the Oreo podcast.
Yeah, today we're gonna be talking about a very controversial word, and it's like we're gonna be talking about the N word, and like the history and like how it makes each party feels. Like I'm a black man and my girlfriend, she's a white woman / Guamanian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And do you have any questions for me to start out with?
What is the history behind it?
Alright, the history behind it. So I did a little bit of research, but like don't take my words as a grain of salt and like do your own research if you agree with what I am saying. So like the N word it was made up because, of black people, and like the Latin term, I don't think I'm allowed to say it on YouTube, but it ends with an O. And it means the term black. And like that's pretty much like the history of how it started. But like it's basically a word to make black people feel inferior. So like that's basically what it is. Comparison is like what people call gay people, the FAG word. It's like that. It's like a derogatory term that makes you feel inferior.
I actually did a little research too, and I found out the term dated back from the 1500s and 1574, and it was actually first recorded in a dictionary as derogatory in 1775. And for reference, when would you say slavery started?
Oh, do you have it?
It says the first reference of slavery used for slavery was 1619.
Yeah, I was gonna say 1600s.
Yeah,
I forgot the exact date, but like around like the 1690s, they got rid of the Atlantic slave trade, and by the 1700s it was all like domestic black people being slaves. Don't quote me on that because I forgot. Anything else?
I also found out they used to use the term colored and the other word with an O in 1851 as a respectful term or alternative during that time. Yeah. But now those words are not used at all, and it's perfumely like black or African American or people of color. Which do you guys prefer to be called, or what do you personally think?
Like, what do you mean, like, called by who, though? Like,
the media are just, like, in general. Like, if someone's describing someone, honestly, they're black
in a perfect world, I would just want to be people.
Just people.
Just people, like...
But, like, in a book, like, if you're reading a book, how would you want it to be portrayed in a book,
Oh, like African American, like...
Okay.
He's an African American male. Or, like, just context clues, too, if you want to do that, like... I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah. But... Not directly saying it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, in a book, I would say, if it matters to the storyline, try to say, like, have clues that there are black, or just say, like, he's an African-American male in, whatever town or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I don't know, like, when people read books, do people automatically assume that the main character is white?
I would say as a white person, I believe the main character is white, but I think it's preferred, like, whatever you think it is. Like, when you read a book, what do you think?
Before they describe it, I go by the name. So if the name is, like, Bob, I'm instantly thinking white boy. Or, like, if the name is, like, Deontay or, like, Jaden or, like, that, I think that's black names.
Yeah. It also determines, for me, it's like the background of the book, like what I know about the book, like what time it came out and
what's the setting.
Yeah, the
like,
setting.
There's a lot of
stuff,
factors that play into it
Yeah.
before they actually, because in most books they describe what the character looks like.
Yes.
Like they have dark skin,
Yeah.
curly hair. Like that's how you do it in books.
Where and who uses it now, would you say?
I mean, the most or just in general?
In general.
In general, I would say, the youth of Black America do.
Uh-huh. And why do you... Slave owners, when they had slaves, what words would they use to describe their slaves?
Like, they would say the N-word or, like, just treat them like animals, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Like, basically, like, how you would treat a bug.
Okay. And would you say, like, the term was made to suppress black people back in the day, or do you think they just used the term to describe them?
At first, I don't think you really know, like... But like I said in the beginning, it was just a term for black skin.
Yeah.
It wasn't meant to be used as a derogatory term, but over time, it became like that.
Mm-hmm. I also, when I was doing my research, I saw that during the social change of the civil rights movement, they used the word black as a mainstream for racial identity. So it's during that time that it switched from the N-word to black that they would be preferred called back then.
Mm-hmm.
Would you, like, do you have anything to say to that?
Can you say that again?
Like, in the 1960s, when the civil rights movement came about, black people wanted to be identified as black rather than the N-word. Because I believe before that, they didn't really have a different term.
Oh. Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that's changed the structure of how the word was viewed?
What do you mean by that?
Like, instead of, like, when people used it, they knew they were trying to get at an African American person.
Using the N-word?
Yes, because they said they specifically didn't want to be called that. Do you think that people would then call them that during the civil rights movement to try and put them down?
Yes.
Okay.
For sure. They used to do a lot of shit.
Why do black people personally now use the word?
Okay, I could answer this one. We use the word because, like, over time, it just became a derogatory term. And we made it into our own, like, culture because we were given that word. And it's like, we've been taught that word, like, all our lives and been called out our lives. That it's like, we will just embrace it to take away the power of that word from white people. And I think that makes a lot of white people kind of upset.
And how would you use the word? Like,
as a friend? Like,
a friend? Yeah. Okay. So
like
when you talk to your friend, you refer to them as that
Not
word.
all the time.
Not all the time, but like when in settings.
Settings,
that's when you would use it. And
yeah.
And singing wise, when you're listening
like
to
in
music,
rap? Yeah.
Or how I believe you said urban music one time.
Yeah, urban music.
And would you say, comparing this word to the word, like, gay, like, how people would derive, like,
the word,
gay
the
people.
F one, the
yes,
F-A-G
the
word?
F word. Would you say that they have the same kind of, like, structure, like, both of them have powerful use, and only those segments of people can use it?
Yeah, like, when I see, like, gay people in, like, media and stuff, they say that word as, like, a term of endearment to, like, their other gay friends or whatever. And it's, like, as a straight person, like, if you say it to a gay person, it's weird because, like, that word, if a straight person says it, it's wrong. It's, like, it's not your word to say to them because it's just going to mean that it's wrong.
And when people, like, use these words, like, specifically not black people, but when other people use it, Spanish or even, like, any other race, would you say all races have the same standard, or would you say it's in a structure of, like, it's semi-okay for Spanish people, it's semi-okay
that is a
for...
great question, because I've seen that shit, like, a lot. Like, Spanish people think, like, oh, we're just as down bad as you, so we can say it and stuff. And like, nah, like my dad used to tell me like back in the day, like Spanish people and black people were like never really on good terms. Like, they would make fun of black people, and I've had a Spanish friend, like, his dad will make fun of black people, and it's just sometimes it's just like it feels like in the world like black people are like the brunt force of like a lot of bad jokes, and it's just like
So you would say besides black people that you would say nobody else can use
nobody
this word.
can else use it. But like, I have Spanish friends and they say it. It doesn't make me mad because like I grew up with them. It's because like it's kind of hard to explain. Like, I would rather them not say it, but they're my friends at the end of the day. But it's so I don't know why, I can't explain it, but it's different. Like, if my white friend were to say it, I get very uncomfortable.
Okay, so you would say like a white person versus a Spanish person that is your friend has different standards.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what if someone was raised in the city like you guys were, and like, would you then say it's okay for a white person to say because they were raised in that environment, or is it still not okay?
See, real white people, like real like people that like really get it, like they don't say it. I've seen like a lot of like I'm gonna use white rappers for example. Like, they hang around with like that type of culture, and they don't say it once.
Like Eminem.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like they don't say it because they respect it. They respect the culture, and like if you a true white friend will be like, I could say other words besides that to have the same effect.
Yeah.
Like,
what words would you say have the same effect?
Oh, just like, what's up, bro? Like, it's the same. It has the same weight for me.
Okay. And for like other words, specifically like when you call a female the B word, that used to be a derogatory term, and it still is, but it has a lot less weight now than it used to. Like, we'll be like, hey bitches, to our friends, or like, hey, what's up? And like, it's a more friendly tone, especially if it's between girls. I mean, when a guy still says it, they will still get in trouble, of course, and get angry stares, but it's not like they're going to get canceled for using the word, and it definitely does not have as much weight. And it's more because everybody can say it now. But along that lines, the C word, where it's nobody can say it. Nobody can say the C word. Girls can't say it. Men can't say it. If anybody uses it, you're banished. So there's two ends of the spectrum, and the F word and the N word are both in like between that spectrum where only certain people can say it.
Yeah.
Would you say that they're like, do you think everybody should be able to say it or no one? Or do you think like where it's at now is where it should be?
I think where it's at now is how it should be, because it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, it's our culture, and we should dictate what's good and what's bad, just like any other culture. Like, I can't go to like China and be like, oh, it's racist for you to have like, whatever they do down there. Like,
yeah.
It's like, I'm not part of that culture. Who am I to say, like, for them to be wrong? Like, it should be us that dictate who can say it and who cannot say it.
Yeah. And do you think that the word is powerful? Like, that the power of the word is the reason why people want to say it?
Yeah. But it's more, instead of power, I would say, like, the taboo of the word.
The taboo?
Yeah, like, they know that it's like when a child hears a curse word, they more likely want to say it because it's like they're not supposed to be saying it. It's fun. It's fun to say the N word. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but it's fun. And a lot of people, like, black people dominate media nowadays. Like, everything you see with music, like, things that are associated with fun have black people in it. And it's like, they want that. They want that, that authenticity. Like, they want to be us, but they don't want to look like us. That's how I feel sometimes.
Would you say, how powerful is the word when it's used between friends? Like, the power, like, when you say, do you feel like a certain type of way, or is it just like, it's just like an everyday word?
It's an everyday word. It's like you ever heard of like the term Abenomics?
No.
Okay, it's basically like, you know what the word linguistic means?
Yes.
It's like black linguistics. Like it's like our own language.
Yeah. And would you say, like, white people want to say this word not only because it's taboo, but because, like, they feel like their power is being taken away? Or, like, because, like, white people are still on top, of course, in the structure of, like, things. Because most of them, like, run businesses. Most of them are managers.
They hold the majority of wealth.
They're the majority of wealth in America, at least. I mean, there are very successful black people, but on the scale, it's not as equated.
If you ever notice, the only time...
There's hardly any black people in the government. The first president just happened a couple years ago, and now we have the first black vice president.
If you notice, like, any really rich black person is famous.
Mm-hmm.
They're not, like... They don't have, like, an oil company. They don't have, like, that real money, like, generational money. Like, we don't have that.
Yeah. So you would say it's more, would you say, like, white people feel like they don't, like, they deserve to say it because they want that power back? Or do you think it's just, like, an inherent, like, that's not what they're thinking, but it's, like, structurally inherent to it. Like, they don't think it, but it's in the back of their mind, like, if they have the power to say this, then I should have the power to say it.
Wait, what? You lost me.
Like, I'm saying, like, do you think, even though they don't think it, like, they might not inherently think, oh, I'm losing power, oh, this has more, like, kind of like the feminist movement. Like, everything, like, happens in little stages, but recently, men have been like, oh, they're too much, they're going too far.
Mm-hmm.
And that hasn't happened yet for you, like for black people specifically, but I think it's inherently in the back of their mind, like they feel like they don't have as much power as they used to have.
I mean, I'm not white, so I can't. Do you feel that way subconsciously?
I don't feel that way, mainly because I don't really care if I can use the word or not. Okay. But I'm not that type of person. I'm not the person who's like, I want to say the word. I would have to ask that person why they want to say it.
Yeah.
I cannot speak for them. I'm just asking in general what you think. Like, do you think that has something to do with it?
Well, the way I think for right now is that they just want to say it because it's fun to say it. I don't think it's because that they're losing power with the word.
And
I think it's also another sense of entitlement. Like, I don't know why, but they just
feel entitled
to say it. And it's just like, why do you care if you can't say this word? And I think that makes it, like, I wanted to really talk about what you said to me earlier, like, why not we just take away the power of the word, and, like, then nobody will probably use it, but it's kind of
or if it is used, it's not, like, there's nothing behind it.
But it's just, like, you can't take away a word that has that much history. And it would just make us, I didn't think about this now, but it would be feeling like I lost for my ancestors. Like, like, for me to just forget about the word and how much that word has weight, like that's messed up to me.
Yeah. I agree with you. I mean, I don't think white people should be able to say it's not their word. And it once was, but it wasn't used for the right reasons. They used it to make people feel inferior. And they used it for the wrong reasons. At first they didn't, but it gained to that traction of where they did. And that's what really matters.
Yeah.
Is where was it before? And, like, it's your guys' word now. And I think it should stay like that. More for the fact of the reason of why do we have a say in what you guys do with the word.
Can I ask you a question? How did you feel before dating me about it? About the whole situation?
I felt like
you never really thought about it?
No, I thought about it. I thought about it before dating you. It's one of those things, it's like, there's no reason to say it. Just like if you're in, say you're in school, there's no reason to say cuss words in school. There's no reason to say cuss words in front of your parents. When you're with your friends, it determines on what your friends are. When you're at a job, you cannot say it. These things are built into us, and, like, they're okay with not saying certain words to certain people all the time. You don't go to your boss and be like, hey, what's up, like, B word. Or you don't cuss out, like, people at your workplace, or to be like, or, like, you're such a, like, little, like, poor or something like that. Like, you don't do that type of stuff in real life.
Yeah.
Unless you're really angry at someone and you're in high school. Like, besides, like, little high school tiffies, there's nothing... You don't use cuss words. Unless you're in, like, a friendly setting. Like, of course, like, that one word is, like, F word. The F word. You use that constantly. Everybody uses it. It's, like, one of those things. It's, like, I think it's just, why should we be able to say it when you can't say other things? You can't say certain words at certain times. All the time. So, that's how I felt before.
Oh, okay. Is there anything else? How you feel about it?
Do you think in the future that it's gonna change?
Nah, I just think like I feel like if America, because right now America is changing. Like, I don't know, like education's getting better. Well, I don't think it's getting better, but the internet is making where people can be more knowledgeable on things if you look in the right places instead of looking at... Because sometimes the internet is bad where, like, the people on Facebook, like, they only look at... I'm going to use the Trump fans, like, they only look at that side of stuff.
They're in their own
bubble. Yeah,
yes.
That's perfect.
Their
yeah.
echo bubble.
And it's on the same, on the left side, too. Like, they're only in their own bubble, and, like... It's crazy. Like, I'm not like that. I like to see both sides. Like,
I like to see both sides
because
too.
I'm interested in, like, how could we come together? Like, people have to come together and not just keep clashing.
Yeah.
Like, nothing gets done.
I agree. We clash way too much. We don't try to understand one another, and we don't try to, like, think of a way to resolve things and actually communicate with each other effectively. And we're just like, you're wrong because you're a Republican, and you're wrong because you're Democratic. And at the end of the day, we're all people. And the best thing I can ever say is, like, we all want the same respect and the same things. Like, we just want to be happy and live our lives.
Like, treat people how you want to... I know that sounds cliche, but treat people how you want to be treated. And, like, if people would live by that, like, it would be so much better.
I also have another thing to say. It's like, I want to go back to, like, if you call someone something like the F word or the N word, or you're, like, just say, you're so gay, like that, for instance.
I have to stop doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, too much.
If you say you're so gay, you're saying that gay people are inferior to straight people. And you're also saying, that also means your friend is inferior. And, like, you're trying to make a joke out of it. And that's what I'm trying to say is, like, that's the N-word and equivalent. Like, not really. Like, you don't use it in there. Like, gay is more of a usable term. Like, people use it a lot. And, which is, like, gay means happy as well. And it's, like, gay is also, like, something, like, people call each other. Like, if you're lesbian, you'll be like, I'm gay or something like that. So it's also a different type of word. It's an adjective word that people use to describe themselves that isn't taboo. Yeah. But it's like, these words are supposed to make people feel inferior.
Yeah. Can I just say something about, like, the word gay? I just feel like the difference is with that is, like, universally, like, you know, because of religion and stuff, like, we look down on people who are gay. So it's kind of more acceptable because both sides say that, like, they'd be like, I dropped my ice cream on the floor. That was gay. Like,
I mean, yeah.
Like, I've done that, and, like, but as a kid, and not realizing, like, what I'm doing is, like, I'm looking down on that. That would be like if I was like, oh, damn, I dropped my ice cream. And
that's
I
so
say
straight.
the N-word.
Oh,
or like that. Oh, yeah, like, that's so
That's so
straight. It
straight.
doesn't sound as good.
Yeah.
But, like, it's just, like, we've made that word, like, like, you suck if you're gay. Like, being gay is beneath.
Yeah. And I feel like the N-word, when it was originally formed, again, wasn't to look down on people, but it became that. And it still has that connotation. And for white people to always be online being like, I can say whatever I want. Like, yes, you can say whatever you want, but that comes with consequences.
Can I ask you, are you done with your thought?
Yeah.
Okay. Can I ask you a crazy question?
Yeah.
You think, you should be with the same color?
I believe that you shouldn't. I think it's up to you.
Oh, I'm about to say, like, you shouldn't.
Like, I think it's up to you personally. Like, I don't think you should be, like,
I know what you're saying.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I should cut that. I don't think you should be forced to be with someone of the same color.
Keep your options open.
Yes.
That's basically what you're saying. Yeah.
Keep your options open, and I think, like, but mixed couples, and particularly mixed people, I'm mixed, I look mixed, I've been called black, I've been called Hispanic, I've been called Indian, I've been called Native American, I've been called everything under the sun.
If y'all know what she looked like, some of those would sound crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, some of them do sound crazy, but it's because of ignorance.
Yeah, they don't really
Chinese,
see those people.
I've been called Chinese, and
I can see that one.
like anything Asian, really.
Yeah, you look kind of,
so I think it's one of those things, like, mixed people especially, they don't find a place for themselves. They're like, you're whitewashed, you're not black enough, you're not white enough, and
you're different from the others.
Yes.
Like,
and like they go through the same thing as every other black person.
And they get it
mixed
worse.
people, yes, and they get it worse. And they get it 10 times worse. And then, like, luckily I've never dealt with that. I've just dealt with the prejudice of what color my skin is, but luckily I've never dealt with that, and I'm happy.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things we need to realize, like, we all fall under the umbrella that we just want to be accepted, and we need to come to terms with the fact that some acceptance is just accepting the fact that you can't do certain things in certain situations.
All right, I kind of want to flip something here.
Yeah.
Okay, so all right, now that we talk about, like, the N-word and stuff, like, how do you feel about, like, white people hating themselves for being white? Because I've seen that, like, I've seen it more than ever. Like they really do hate themselves because of what their ancestors did. Like, how do you feel about that?
I think it's so weird. I find it weird. Because it's like, you cannot,
so
it's like the
weird.
racism thing. It's like, you can't help what skin color you are. And we can't, like, you can't look at a white person and be like, they're racist. And I can't look at a black person and be like, whatever black people are associated with, I don't know.
Yeah.
What are black people usually associated with?
Basketball?
Basketball? Okay. It's like saying a black person,
fried chicken?
like, basketball,
Kool-Aid.
yeah. I mean, or like that, I like Starbucks.
We have big
like,
dicks.
Those are two completely different things, though. Like, those are prejudice, but they're not like horrible, like, things.
The stereotypes.
Yeah,
The
stereotypes. Like, if you go up to a white person, you might be like, "Oh, do you like football?" It's not bad, but we should be like, "What sports do you like?
Yeah.
What kind of music do you like?"
Yeah, this shit is always funny. Like, oh, do you like rap music? And they're like, nah. What if I like jazz or something? Like, they always start with, like, the most blackest event ever.
But jazz was started by black people.
I know, but, like,
Okay.
no, we don't listen to. I mean, black people listen to jazz, but, like, you know, we predominantly listen to hip hop.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying is, like, you know, they, like, they go based off of stereotypes with their first impressions.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's different for white people, like. Well, I guess white on white. I don't know. Like, when I meet a white person, I'm instantly thinking, like, they like to do crazy shit.
Yeah.
And when I came here in, like, college, my freshman year, I had, like, the crazy white boys, and I was like, man, like, this white boy stereotype is real. But then I met, like, other white people that, like, actually, like, are a lot different than that.
Would you say since dating me, you've learned more about white people?
No, because you're not really like them.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm being honest, like, you do the exact opposite of what they do, of what I think that they will do.
Yeah.
So it's like, no, I think I learned a lot about white people from the friend I was here.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't want to say his name.
Yeah.
But, like, I mean, he showed me a side of where, like, white people can literally, because in my head, I just thought they would just never understand, like, anything. But he made it where, like, oh, yeah, like, he makes sense about every topic we talk about. Even sometimes better than me.
Yeah.
Because he, like, you know, is interested in it.
Yeah. I'd say I learned a lot more about black people than since I've been dating you.
Oh, yeah, for
and
sure.
There are black people in my town, but in my town, it's predominantly white people. You can tell because they thought it was black. It's just
She
like
doesn't
one of
like
those
black
things.
people.
In the summer, I can. In the summer, I can.
Well, yeah, you're tanned, yeah.
In the summer, I was really close to his skin tone, so I can understand some people maybe mistaking me if I was really tan. But even back in high school, I wasn't, like, super tan. Maybe every once in a while, like...
Only in the spring or summer when there's actual sun out.
Yeah. Maybe, like, early in the fall, but, like, my skin tone dies down a lot, and I'm very... I would say, yes, I'm tan, but you can tell I'm not, like, black.
Yeah.
But then again, like, there's a lot of people who are lighter than me who are black, so it's really hard to tell. Like, your cousin. Like, your cousin, he's light, but we have different skin tones.
Yeah.
So it's, like, it's very hard to tell, but the skin is different.
I have another crazy question that I had this crazy idea. I really think that when you reach, like, 9th grade, like, that age of, like, 13, 14, like, white people should watch the movie 13 Years of Slavery, or Slave, 13 Years of a Slave, and, like, you will get it after that. Like, it's just, like, that movie really captures, like, what happened in slavery. I just feel like we need more, like, more history on it, because when I was in history class, like, we learned slavery, but, like, it was kind of like, oh, it happened, and then we had Harriet Tubman. She did the what was the Underground Railroad, and then Civil War happened because the South wanted to keep slavery. Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves, and then it kind of just went like a little bit. Time has passed, and then civil rights, and then Martin Luther King got shot. Civil rights, segregation was over, and then everything's fun in America now.
I do think they surpass a lot of things in school and in general on media and stuff. There's a lot of things that we don't know or didn't learn, and I think it's pretty sad. And I actually want to do a podcast, and I told him this. I want to start doing podcasts about Black history, and every month we would do one specific person or one specific topic. And I really think I still want to do that because, unfortunately, it's something that people need to be taught.
Yeah, like, we've been taught about all the great white men. Like, let's move on. Because, like, the people who made America's, like, whole economy were, like, we built the roads and everything. Like,
without slavery, there would be no America.
It would still be in development.
Yeah.
Because it was free labor. Like, it would take a lot longer if they had to pay people to do this shit.
Yeah. Like, I'm not saying we would still be owned by England still now, but it would take a lot longer to not be, because while they fought on their war, slaves did the cotton. Cotton made the money. Things like that is specific to know. Like, without that, we wouldn't be where we are today in America.
And the system would be a lot different. It would just be so much different.
I mean, eventually things would happen, but it's not. It's right then. That's what the key thing is to know. This is why things happen, and like, we need to know the history and why that affected it.
So it can't repeat itself. I mean, I don't think slavery. I mean, who knows?
I don't think slavery specifically would repeat itself, but other things, like not knowing, like, that everybody's important in our system, and that, like, let's take essential workers. Like, recently we really became known as essential workers are very good, but we still are fighting for them to have a living wage in 2020. And it's not slavery because they do get paid, but they have to fight for their life every day and make sure their bills are paid, having to work 2 jobs or more than 40 hours.
A pandemic.
Yes, during a pandemic. And it's just stuff like that we need to, like, learn. Like, this right now, the essential workers are building our backbones to America. They're the ones that are putting everything on the line to keep America where it's at, to keep the
normal, honestly.
To keep the economy open, to make sure the economy doesn't crash. Yes, is it crashing? Yes, but not as badly as if all the stores were closed, if they weren't working.
Yeah, if they weren't working. Yeah. Them working makes feel like everything is still normal.
And it also brings money in the economy, because when you go out to eat, when you go to the grocery store, store to buy food, it keeps those stores open and keeps jobs alive. Buying stuff from Amazon isn't going to keep jobs open. Yes, they do have jobs, and yes, many people work for Amazon, but that's only one thing. People need to buy things from all the stores, from small businesses to big businesses to Amazon, because it keeps everybody afloat.
All right, next thing. Since we're going through all this,
Sorry.
What do you think about white privilege?
In my opinion, before I dated you, this is how I thought of white privilege. I thought of it as an economic issue, and I was like, I have to fight for my right to get into college. I have to fight to get loans even. It took me forever to just get a loan, a person to sign off for me to get a loan to go to college. It took me a long time to go through college, and it was a struggle. I didn't have the support I needed. Not during elementary school, not during middle, not during high school, and not during college.
You didn't have what?
The support that I needed.
Oh, support. Okay.
Support as in, I really believe that I have dyslexia. Support and I believe I have ADHD, and I never got tested for these things. I had to go through school without any help from anybody, and I had to do it myself. I did pass on my classes luckily, and I never needed that extra thing, but that could have been the difference between, finishing on time and being, when I went for marine science and I had to switch, maybe I wouldn't have never needed to switch if I had the support that I needed to learn. Because there's two different types of learning. And the one that I, the computer one, looking and seeing versus, facts.
Yeah.
It's very different things. So in my defense, it's I never had the support. I never had anything. This white privilege that you talk about, nobody gave me things because I was white. And that's where I'm going with this. Nobody gave me specific things for being white. Nobody helped me. Nobody helped me financially. And I have to work my ass off to just get into an entry-level job. And then after that, I have to work hard to get to the above. But that's not what all white privilege is about.
Yeah. So let me just, reiterate what, she's saying. She's basically saying, to sum it up in a sentence, she didn't believe in white privilege because she basically got no outside help, because when you hear stuff in media, when black people say a white privilege, oh, you got this job because you're white, you got a high paying job because you're white, oh, you got this and that because you were white, and that's how she thought what it was. So how do you feel about it now?
I feel very differently about it now, because I do think people need to stop saying, oh, you got this because you're white, because white people work just as hard as anybody else, even harder sometimes, because we need to prove to the fact that we can do the job. Where now I think of it differently because of TikTok mainly, and because of my boyfriend. They told me that white privilege isn't all about the economic. It does have somewhat to do about that.
It's more with quality of life.
It's more with, yes. I don't have to fear for my life. I don't have to worry that someone's going to think that I'm stealing from their store. I don't have to worry when a cop pulls me over, more likely.
Or when you even call the cops. And then they end up killing you.
Yeah, I don't have to worry that if I call the cops that they're going to kill me. I have to worry maybe that they'll kill my boyfriend, though.
Yeah. Good luck with that anxiety. Yeah.
No, I have horrible anxiety, guys. I don't know if you know that. I don't have to deal with the fact that, if I go to the job interview, they might not hire me because I'm black. They won't say that, but it's a thing that black people, they have to go through that. They'll be like, did I not get the job because I wasn't qualified, or did I not get the job because they were racist?
That's how people think. Yeah. That's black people be like, didn't get the job because I wasn't good enough, or were they racist? White people don't think like that.
It's more likely that either we weren't qualified or they found someone more qualified.
Yeah.
And that's the difference, is key differences. And when prisons were made because of the fact that they wanted, it's in slavery.
When slavery ended, that was when they invented the prison system.
Yes, and they started putting black people in prison. Drugs like cocaine and stuff.
That's why
they
I
were
won't be
imported.
getting the vaccine.
They
They ruined it for me, man.
Drugs were imported into the inner cities and given to them, and they would get hooked on these drugs. Black people would get hooked on these drugs and
sell
drugs to make money, and cops would constantly arrest them.
Yeah.
But cops were the ones who give it to them. The government. This is a proven fact that the government gave the black people the drugs.
Exactly.
And I forget what it was called, but
what
the whole conspiracy thing, like, it's true, but
well, it's the conspiracy of the war on drugs.
yeah, but there was a different title for it, and I forget exactly. But it doesn't matter. But it's true, and it's been proven for a fact.
Yeah, that they did it.
That they did it, and that this all happened. And that's a whole nother thing, is when you're in prison, you're more likely to go back to prison within a year. And on top of that, it's harder to get a job. And on top of all that, you have to worry. You have to worry about your family while you're in prison. And it's a whole thing. And, like, they still do it to this day. They still target black people. I remember seeing a map, and I wish I knew where the map was, but this map showed an outline of where the police like,
yeah, where they go to police.
Yeah, where they go to, like, watch people, and they were mainly in inner cities, in inner cities, and
black neighborhoods.
Yeah, where people of color live.
Yeah, because
Hispanics live there, black people live there.
I've heard about that too.
Yes.
Like, of course, there's gonna be more arrests in black neighborhoods if police are policing there. When I live in the suburbs, right, I hardly see cops, and even if I do, like, they just drive through. Like, they not just, like, they don't sit and wait.
Yeah,
it's like they do it for a reason, and, like, there's gonna be high crime if you're just right there watching everybody.
Also, I want everybody to think about the suburbs, and you're more likely to be kidnapped if you live in a suburb area, especially if you're a white girl for some reason. Especially according to the documentaries I watch.
Why? Because white people be crazy.
That's true.
Because they also don't talk about white on white crime, like why most serial killers are white. Like, they kill for, like, zero reasons.
Actually, they mainly kill because of their parents.
Because of parent trauma.
Yeah.
But their parents are white.
Yeah. But the real thing is, white on white crime happens because they're near each other. Black on black crime happens because they're near each other.
You're gonna rob someone that lives near you.
Yeah.
you're not gonna
an
go.
opportunity.
Yeah, it's
and
opportunity.
Most crimes that black people commit are either drug related or robbery, where most white people crimes are murder, rape, and incest and child molesting. Not saying that black people can't do all those things. I'm just saying they're more likely to be white than any other color. And I also wanted to say, like, all these things, like those rich people who were on a list that went to that island and rape all those kids and kidnap those people, like the Epstein case. None of those kids will ever get justice because they're white and they're rich. Even if it was a black rich guy that was on their list, he'd be arrested.
I don't think so.
I think so.
You know why I don't think so?
It's because of the conspiracy?
Yeah, I don't think they would allow him to get arrested because that means that something was going on.
Yeah. I mean,
it's like, it's either
they could arrest him for other things, though.
I guess.
But, I mean...
What's the point of arresting him then?
Yeah. I mean, there is no point. I'm just saying, like, it would be more likely a black person would be arrested than a white person. Like, that's my
If they're rich?
Yes.
Yeah. Like R. Kelly, for example.
Yes. I mean, R. Kelly definitely deserves to be arrested.
But a lot of white people are getting more like rich white people are getting more accountability because of the power of the internet.
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing. I don't think just because you have power and money that you should not be arrested.
Yeah.
Everybody should be arrested on a fair account. Just because you have power and just because you have money, if there's a fair amount of evidence, you should be in jail.
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother issue, though. Because that's different. Because, like, a black person, even if they're rich, they'll still go to jail more likely.
Yeah, like, I'm going to use my rappers, for example. Like, it's crazy how much trouble they get with, like, the police, man. Like, they could just be driving one day and then just get arrested just for, like, they'll just pull them over for no reason. But if it's like a rich white person, they don't flag them down or anything. Like, they never catch like these Wall Street people doing cocaine or anything. But if it's a black dude in a nice vehicle, like, they get pulled over all the time.
Yeah, banking on that, like, I remember watching this girl on TikTok. I wish I really remember her name, but she's black and she lives in a small town, but she's, like, on a well-off community, I would
Is
say.
this where she gets followed?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
she gets followed by police every single day. Every single day she's followed by the police all the way to her house. They never, like, she's like, I'm so happy I drive safely, and that, but I heard that that's white privilege, not having to deal with that. Not ever, like, if a cop pulls you over, more likely you did something to deserve to be pulled over. And if you do get pulled over, they're either gonna give you a warning, no ticket,
They give
no
you
written
second
warning,
chance, bro. They
no
give you
written
second-
warning even.
It's crazy.
But if it's a black person, they'll either arrest them or give them an actual ticket, one or the other. And that's another thing, is if a white person does a crime and they're arrested, that's fine. Or if a white person is killed, nobody cares. That's another thing I want to talk about, is, like, I think white people with All Lives Matter, like, if you care about other white people, then why not bring up the fact that they're killed too? And on that instance, nobody should be killed by the cops unless the other person has
they
a
have
gun. Or they're threatening
someone.
someone with a knife, like they're actively gonna hurt someone. But nobody, unless in those instances, deserves to be killed. White, black, Hispanic.
I just want to say something.
Yeah.
I find that so weird. Like, white people, like, y'all don't have each other's backs.
Yeah.
Like,
They'd
at
be
all.
like, oh, white
Like,
people get killed too. So why should we care?
where were you, bro? Like, yeah, where
But
were you?
You should care. Officers of the law should not have to be above the law. If you kill someone and you could have done anything else but kill them, you should tackle them, tase them. I don't care. Anything but killing them. You can even shoot them in the leg for all I care. There's so many ways
I
to
never
go
understood
around that.
Like, why they just immediately try to, like,
Yeah.
shoot to kill? Like, they never try to shoot him in the leg, shoot him in the arm, like.
And
Yeah.
that's racism. Systemic racism. Right?
Systemic,
Yeah, systemic racism. That's systemic racism
or
because
systematic.
yeah, because no, like, it's inherent. Like, they think black people are more likely to, like, be scary, aggressive, and stuff like that. That's inherent racism, and that's being taught to them when it's just likely that a white person could do it. It's all fair game, and you should take each one into consideration. You should not have to shoot someone unless you absolutely have to.
Yeah.
Whether you're white, black, or anything else.
It's literally like the media, and, like, it's the media, because I remember I was walking down the street one day, and, like, this black dude with, like, a white beater on, and, like, he had a gold chain, he was sagging his pants, and he looked mad aggressive walking up to me, and I was literally scared for my life. I was like, what is this guy gonna do to me? And then all he does was ask for the time, and I told him the time, and I walked away thinking, like, I'm fucked up. Like, why am I scared of my own people? Like, it bothers me. Like, I've been conditioned to be fearful of other black people.
Yeah.
Like, I've never been afraid of white people unless y'all in groups. I'm scared. But one-on-one, I'm not really scared.
Yeah, and I think it's a condition, and it's in the media. It's in our heads. It's taught by us, but it's something that we need to, like, come to terms with. Like, yes, a black person can be violent, but so can a white person. Every case is different, and I'm not saying, like, sometimes you really do just be going off of instinct, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't get in trouble. You should you get suspended, no pay at all, desk duty, not allowed to have a gun, and then when you do go back into the field, you have to practice, and you have to go, maybe you don't go back to training, Maybe even go back to training. Like, all that. There should be a whole
There should be
reform
accountability.
system.
There's no accountability.
There's no accountability. And I'm saying
nothing.
this for everybody. If they kill a white person, if they kill a black person, if they kill a Hispanic, and they didn't need to in that instance.
Like America, like
if they did not need to in that instance.
America is like one of the safest places to be. Why are we treating it like it's a war zone?
And the huge thing is, like, people come up with stupid things like, oh, what if he did this, but he was running, you know, like, they make the most amount of excuses for something that isn't excusable. I see someone running every day. I don't pull out my gun and shoot them. They're on the fucking track.
Yeah.
It's just like...
They're not trained, bro. They're not.
It's not even about being trained. It's
I think it is, because, like, in the military, they train them to mentally think, like, you know, not to shoot this person, like, actually have critical thinking in intense situations. Mm-hmm. Cops don't have a class for they may have a class for it, but they're not really drilled into like okay, there's consequences to my actions.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and there isn't, because if they do get suspended, they get paid for it. They get to come back. There's no training that they have to do.
Concrete evidence, like straight up evidence, like,
and 90% of the time they don't even go to court. They go to this pre-court thing, because everything has a pre-court thing. Like, if you do something wrong, you go to a pre-court to determine if you go to court, or determine if it's worthy to even get into court. Yeah, I think so. But a jury decides, and a judge and stuff, like, oh, does it have enough evidence or something?
Yeah.
And 90% of the time, I would say, like, they never make it to the second court hearing.
Or they get suspended for 2 weeks, and then they're back to work.
None of them go to jail. None of them have to, like, appear in court. None of them even, like, get anything bad. They don't have to do anything. They just keep going. And that's wrong. No matter who does it, it's wrong. No matter who they do it to, it's wrong in my eyes.
Yeah.
They kill white people is not a reason for it to be okay for them to kill black people. It should be wrong on all accountabilities. And we should all stand together on this and tell them that they're not above the law, because this is what happens. If they start thinking they're above the law and they can kill anybody they want and nobody blinks an eye, nobody bats their eyes, they're going to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
To whoever they want.
And it's like, as black people, like, I feel like we've never asked for, like, you know, white people to speak for us. Like, we've always been like, we're gonna speak for ourselves. And I just think that's what you need to do. Like, speak for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do what you think needs to change. Because as of right now, you feel like, oh, a cop killed a white kid, nobody cares. Like, if you're saying that means, like, did you really care? Like, did you post it online? Did you send it to a bunch of people to spread awareness?
Did you try and start a rally?
Yeah, like, you didn't do anything. You just deflecting.
I don't think white people really care. Because honestly,
it's creepy.
I never heard news about it. But two, if I even heard news, I probably wouldn't care. And not for the pure fact of, like, oh, it doesn't matter. It's just like, it's like we're being degraded. Like, white people only care about themselves.
It's self-absorbed.
And I hate to say it, but I still have a lot of learning to do. And it's not like, oh, I'm going to search every case and tell every single person about every case. Yeah. But I should be doing research at least and making sure these people try and get justice. And making sure people at least hear about it. I might not specifically do anything, but post something online, information about it. But that's doing something. Little things like that does something. It brings awareness to a situation. And it shows this is not okay. And this is what they think is okay.
Word B.
Yeah. But, yeah. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Because I think we covered a lot.
Yeah, we did. And we're about to hit the 1 hour mark. We don't want to make this shit too long.
Yeah, 1 hour, not long.
There's a lot of rambling. I hope you'll understand, you know, all the points. And, like, if you have any opinions on it, like, you know, comment. This is, like, a free area. Like, just no hate speech, right?
I really don't want to get hate comments.
Yeah,
I really just try to, like, I'm not very good at speaking my mind, so this is very hard for me. but I hope I like presented my ideas as well as I could.
Yeah,
And
I mean, yeah.
my thoughts as well.
You
as
didn't
I
come
could.
off cross of as a racist or
No,
like
that's not just it.
absorbed or
There's other things about this that makes me scared. So
I
mainly
think-
white people.
yeah.
Mainly, I'm afraid more of the white people than anything else.
Really?
Yes.
I'm more afraid of like black people like kind of like not censoring you, but like making you feel bad for like talking about stuff like that.
But the thing is if white people can't speak about these issues, they can never. If we don't have a say, then it's double standard. We need to talk about it. We need to have a communication. There needs to be questions. There needs to be answers.
A conversation.
If you have no conversation, we feel isolated. We feel like you're attacking us when you're not. And there are certain things that you need to talk to us about so we can understand. But if we can't ask questions and we can't like say this is what I used to think and this is what I think now and show our growth,
Just be open-minded.
We need to all come together and be like, we realize people need to grow and we all need to grow as a community.
Yeah, because we can't control like what our kid environment was, like our upbringing.
Yeah. And there's plenty of people that are going to be like, oh, but she is racist because she used to think this. But in my mind, I've grown so much and and I still have a lot more to grow and to learn. But this is where it starts. It doesn't end here. And that's what you need to realize. And like, that's why I'm not scared, because I hope black people realize that I'm trying to grow and I'm trying to learn. And that I'm here for them, and I don't want them to be hurt.
Yeah.
And I hope they just see past all that.
Yeah. Alright, so we're gonna end it here.
Peace.
Bye. Yeah.